Get a cup, get a cup, get a cup. Hello, hello. Welcome back, everyone, to another video on Fresh Slim, and today we'll be looking at the dumbest lottery winners of all time. Now, I know, and I've heard that a lot of people who do win the lottery end up losing it, so I guess we're going to be seeing the worst examples of that. Because, you know, people who aren't good with handling money, doesn't matter how much they run into, if they have not changed how they behave, they're still going to lose it. So, yeah. Anyway, the original link's in the description. This is by Sunny V2. I really like Sunny V2's videos. And yeah, without any further ado, let's begin.
From accidentally throwing a £3 million lottery ticket in the bin to spending an entire $16 million prize in under 90 days. These are the absolute dumbest lottery winners of
90
all time,
days?
beginning with Jose Antonio Quartok, who almost lost his entire lottery fortune after getting someone else to claim the money for him. You see,
Bad idea. Why would he do that unless, like, was he illegal and he won it? Like, why the frick would you get someone else to go do it? Like, are you too busy that you can't go and do it yourself? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
when Jose won the $750,000 jackpot back in 2010, he was living in the US illegally, so Jose asked
There you go.
his boss to claim the prize on his behalf, as he feared he couldn't claim the money without potentially facing legal trouble and deportation. This worked out perfectly until Jose's boss began to falsely state that he was the one who had actually purchased the ticket. Taking legal action against his boss was risky, given Jose wasn't supposed to be in the country at all. However, given he had
Yeah, it's kind of a scumbag move, dude. If you do decide to help someone out like that, you should have an agreement made up where that you might get a portion of the money or something. You know, that makes sense. But to claim it's all yours is kind of an a-hole thing.
He had security camera footage of him purchasing the ticket. Jose did so and was able to prove that he was the rightful owner to the $750,000 prize. Only $250,000 of this went to taxes.
Yep, there you go, I knew it.
Another $250,000 was spent on court fees, and throughout the legal process, Jose was jailed for drunk driving and was deported back to Guatemala as soon as he won the court case. However, at least Jose
Freaking sucks.
Antonio Quartok got to keep some of his winnings, as Denise Rossi
He still kept that much money and then went back to Guatemala. Do you know how much money, like, it's still 250 grand, but do you know what that could buy you in his home country? He's probably living like a king. That's probably worth a whole lot down there. Like, you could buy a lot. Maybe that was the best, you know, possible outcome for him, I guess.
wasn't so fortunate. When Denise won a jackpot of $1.3 million back in 1996, she'd been married to Thomas Rossi for over 25 years, yet their relationship was apparently lacking in transparency, as Denise didn't tell her husband about the win, and instead filed for divorce only 11 days after buying the lucky ticket. I was afraid to tell
Obviously didn't love your husband that much.
Thomas because I knew he would try to take the money away from me. I went to the Lottery Commission office and told them I was married but contemplating divorce. They told me to file before I got my first check, which I did. Denise was initially successful in hiding the money from her now ex-husband, as for a whole 2 years after their divorce, Thomas had no idea that Denise had ever won the lottery. However, in May 1999, a letter was sent to Thomas's home address, asking if Denise was interested in a lump sum buyout of her lottery winnings. This was the first Thomas knew about the lottery prize. He confirmed that Denise was a winner with the California lottery, and given they were still married at the time of the win, Thomas launched a lawsuit stating that he was entitled to half of the prize money. The judge specifically found that Denise's failure to disclose the lottery winnings constituted fraud, oppression, and malice, and as a result, the trial court awarded Thomas 100% of the lottery winnings.
Dang! He won the lottery after all! Maybe they should have stayed married if she was afraid he was going to take the money. You know, she was right.
Which left Denise with less than nothing, considering she also had to pay for her own legal fees. However, Denise's loss of $1.3 million was still nothing in comparison to Evelyn Adams. Dubbed the luckiest.
Like, yeah, what? Hiding that from your spouse, like, they must have been rocky to begin with if she was already contemplating divorce. Yeah, there's a lesson in telling the truth. The truth is always best to come out with. Just find the best way to say it, because the way you say things does matter. You can say the same thing, but in various different ways, and each way you say it will mean something or be interpreted. It'll be taken a certain way by whoever's hearing it.
Woman in America, Evelyn Adams became the first person in human history to win the lottery twice, initially for $3.9 million in October 1985, before winning another $1.4 million
Within a year?
only 4 months later. With a probability
4 months? Within 4 months? Something's odd there.
Of this win being approximately 1 in 17.3 trillion, Evelyn seemed to realize that she had no lottery luck left by stating that she was going to quit playing, and instead began to buy various businesses, including the convenience store where the lucky tickets had been purchased.
So far, smart decision. Instead of wasting it, you're investing because then the businesses will bring you more money. I just can't. You won 2 lotteries within 4 months? That's insane.
While you could argue that this was a smart move, Evelyn still hadn't fixed her gambling problem, and instead of buying more lottery tickets, she instead took the rest of her winnings to the Atlantic City casinos.
Oh, there you go. Down the drain. Down the drain. You might as well try to buy a casino. At least that way you know you're guaranteed to win.
Where she lost her entire remaining fortune to the slot machines. Without any money left, her businesses failed one after the other, and by 2012, Evelyn was living in a trailer park, while stating to the media, winning the lottery isn't always what it's cracked up to be. Kelly Rogers likely had a similar outlook.
You know, having money doesn't change who you are, you know? You can be bad with money, but all of a sudden coming into a hole, like, I know people who are horrible with it. I have a friend who's insane, like, almost like mentally insane, and he's horrible with money. Like, I've tried correcting him and helping him with his decisions. You can't teach him. So there's some people you can't teach, but...
As after winning over £1.8 million at the age of only 16, her life was also ruined. Initially, Kelly stated, I will not go wild and...
Can you even win that kind of money when you're that young? Also, when you're that young, you don't have that much experience with finances. So yeah, unless you have someone helping you make these decisions or teaching you how to handle it, there's no way this is going to end well.
Spend loads. I'm going to take some advice and see an accountant. Hopefully I will make us all comfortable. I want to help my family, but I won't change. I just want a normal home, nothing posh. I just want a normal car as well. However, as soon as she received the money, Kelly instead spent £11,500 on 2 boob jobs, £300,000 on clothes, makeup.
How can you even... You're 16 years old. You can get that surgery when you're 16?
And tattoos, as well as £85,000 on top of the range sports cars. Kelly spent a further $250,000.
Sports cars? This amount of money might get you 1 car. That's pretty top. You're not going to get multiple cars for this much money. Unless they're... Like, you would, but they're going to be 40 grand. Or 40,000 pounds. That's like a normal, everyday vehicle. That's like a Honda. You know, a Honda Civic.
£50,000 on holidays to locations including Mexico and Euro Disney, £118,000 on gifts to former boyfriends, £190,000 in unreturned loans to...
She gave this much money to former boyfriends, not even boyfriends at the time, just people that you've known in the past? What?
Friends and family members, and £50,500 on solicitor's fees, all of which being purchased while she was still in high school. Kelly did make a few smart purchases such as an £180,000 bungalow and a £96,000 home for her mum. However,
how do you buy how does that get you a home? How does £96,000 get you a home? In what friggin' world?
by the end of the year, Kelly was back to square one, being on welfare with only £2,000 left in her account. She's since stated it was too much money for someone so young. Even if you say your life won't change, it does, and often not for the better.
Yeah, I just wish I was a bit older at the time of winning it, because I think at 16, you're still just a child.
That's very true. You are just a child. You had your mother, and your mother didn't, like, help you. Okay, like, okay, we're going to set up a budget where you can spend this much. We're going to invest the rest here. That way you're not going to go broke. Set up, like, a trust for her or something. Like, it's bad parenting, I think.
And overnight, you've just got to grow up and become an adult.
Which is probably why she's now an advocate for raising the UK's legal gambling age from 16 to 18.
It should be. How the frig is it 16?
Kelly Rogers certainly spent her money poorly. However, at least she had the chance to spend it, as 25-year-old Amanda Clayton from Detroit was no longer alive by the end of her spending spree. When Amanda won the $1 million jackpot back in 2011, it seemed as though her life had been changed overnight. However, her win quickly became controversial after the media learned that she was still collecting food stamps and benefit payments despite having won the lottery.
How? Would it be because technically if you win this money, which is great, but you technically don't have an income, so that way you can still claim that you have no income and then you're still going to get handouts? Is that how it works?
Detroit woman is now the second lotto winner in the state to keep taking food stamps after hitting it big.
That's
Amanda
crazy.
Clayton, who won $1 million and took home a $700,000 lump sum. The 24-year-old says even though she now owns 2 homes, she figured
2 homes?
she was still allowed to use a bridge card.
After being confronted about the behavior, Amanda had the following to say.
I thought that they would cut me off, but since they didn't, I thought maybe it was okay because I'm not working.
And shortly thereafter, she was charged with 2 felony counts of welfare fraud and was ordered to pay back the $5,500 worth of food stamps she'd received.
How long? That's a lot of friggin' money in food stamps. Like, how long would that be in over like a course of like a year or something?
While Amanda quickly paid the $5,500 back, she never got the chance to spend the rest of the money, as only 6 months later she would unfortunately overdose in one of her 2 homes.
He says she was tormented by the fame and the problems that came with winning the lottery.
What fame? Sure, there would have been some people who know you. Why don't you just sell your homes and move somewhere else where people don't?
What's the point of having money if you're not gonna have happiness?
He says she didn't want the money anymore and bought things for her family and set up college funds for her children. He says she only had
Instead of college funds?
$67,000 of her winnings left.
The end to Amanda Clayton's story was somewhat unexpected. However, a 2-second glance at Ryan McGee is more than enough to predict that this lottery win would eventually end in disaster.
Got that like Pennywise smile.
After winning £6.4 million back in 2008 at the age of 27, Ryan was placed on the Sunday Times Top 100 Rich list for young people. He purchased a luxury mansion in his home country of Ireland, which featured 5 bedrooms and
It doesn't even look that good. Is this actually it? This looks horrible.
indoor swimming pool, a full champagne bar, and a
Look how horrible. Everything looks so bad. You have to put like $1 million in to fix everything.
2-car garage where he kept his brand new Ferrari 458 Italia. However, as you might expect, this is where things began to go terribly. Only 3 years after buying the Ferrari, Ryan slipped off the road, crashing the car into a field, mainly because he was driving in the snow. Locals were amazed Ryan was driving the Ferrari
Are you driving that in the winter? That's crazy.
in that weather, especially when he had a more suitable Range Rover he could use. The Ferrari was not understood to be running on winter tyres, which, while costing around £4,400, hugely boost grip and handling in icy conditions.
So then, did he have an insurance? Like, the insurance would cover any issues, but if you said that you had winter tires and you didn't, the insurance probably wouldn't cover you.
Ryan's property development business then dissolved, which was accompanied by a divorce from his wife and the sale of his luxury home.
Well, there goes everything. There goes everything. There goes half instantly.
Then, 2 years later, Ryan McGee was pulled over driving an uninsured Ford Focus without a license. However, the most interesting part is that he had to claim legal aid, which is a service for those who are unable to afford a lawyer. Now, Ryan McGee was a complete idiot with his money. However, he still looks like Albert Einstein.
All right, I took my hat off. I don't know how these people who win this large amounts of money like that have never, like, could go to someone who can help you manage it. If expect, like, it's just unbelievable.
When compared to Martin Tott. When Martin and his wife Kay won £3 million back in 2001, they didn't go in to claim the prize because, well, they had no idea that they were winners. They'd purchased a ticket in passing, completely forgotten about it, and would only come to
This is more reasonable or understandable, you know? If you just forget that you buy a ticket, I get that.
realize that they were the winners after hearing about the unclaimed prize over 6 months later. The main problem was that at some point, the ticket had been misplaced or thrown out completely. Despite
Okay, how do you know you're the winner 6 months later? It's not like you're going around memorizing your lottery ticket. Are you just claiming that you're the winners?
frantically searching, the pair couldn't find their ticket, but were sure they had won because the jackpot numbers matched the ones they used every week. Computer records in their local Londis proved Kay really had purchased the ticket, and the thrilled pair rushed to tell lottery organizer Camelot to claim their prize. But they fell victim to a little-known rule, stating lost tickets must be reported within 30 days. After 45 days of deliberation, Camelot told the devastated couple that they would not be collecting the jackpot, and as a result,
The rules are the rules, you know.
the couple's marriage eventually came to an end. We'd only known each other for 2 years, and the lottery ordeal quickly highlighted our differences. All we did was bicker. Sadly, both of us agreed we should split, and Kay moved out. Martin seems to have convinced himself that losing the ticket ended up being a good thing, having stated, "For a long time I lost sight of who I was and what I believed in. But I can honestly say I'm glad I didn't get the $3 million now. There is no guarantee it would have brought me happiness, and if there's anyone else who
What? How did the money change them without them even touching it? If you fell in love with someone, you know, and then down the road things are getting worse and worse and worse, you can fall back in love with them again. You just have to go back to the state where you were, where you fell in love with them. And you can do that by simply focusing on the good things about them, the things that you fell in love with originally, and only focus on the good things, and you will see that again in them. I don't know how the money changed them without them ever touching it. That's just stupid.
would have agreed with this statement, it definitely would have been the most miserable lottery winner of all time, William Post. When William won a $16.2 million jackpot back in 1988, he had just $2.46 in his bank account and was able to purchase the lucky ticket by selling a ring for $40 to a local pawn shop. This, in conjunction with the time he'd spent in jail.
That's kind of crazy. Selling your last ring. You don't know if it's a winning ticket. Just pawning jewelry to buy a lottery ticket is nuts.
For cashing invalid checks, highlighted William Post's awful money management skills, and acted as foreshadowing for how poorly his lottery win was eventually going to be spent. Only 84 days after receiving the $16.2 million, William Post had spent the entire fortune on a boat, a lease for a restaurant in Florida, a used car lot, as well as a private jet.
A used car lot? Like as a business? Maybe that's not that I'll excuse, because you might make some money off it. You hire some people to run it. You might be all right with that. Jet? No, that's stupid.
However, even after all of the money had been spent, Post took on a further $500,000 loan to purchase a mansion in Oil City, Pennsylvania.
What? You don't have any money left, and then you take out a $500,000 loan. That is so stupid. Oh my gosh. How are you going to pay that back when you don't have... Like, what? If you took out that $60 million and all you did was buy businesses and you bought like 10 McDonald's and like 5 Wendy's, then I would say, yeah, it's kind of dumb all of a sudden just going and taking out a $500,000 loan to buy a house. But you know that with all these restaurants you own, that's going to generate you income, and that's going to pay for this. So then I would say, okay, it makes sense. But to waste everything on garbage, I don't know what about this car lot. Like, I don't know if that's cars for himself or that like a business. I don't know. But it sounds like he just wasted everything. To go waste everything and then be like, okay, let's waste another $500,000 that I don't have, is so stupid.
The problem was that William hadn't actually purchased the original ticket himself and had rather given the money to his girlfriend who had bought the winning ticket for him. Because of this, she was able to successfully sue him for 1/3 of the winnings, meaning that
after he wasted everything?
Post now owed $5.4 million to his ex-girlfriend from the $16.2 million that he no longer had. Since Post was unable to make this payment, the judge ordered that his bank account be frozen until he was able to come up with the money.
Good luck, Judge. I don't got squat.
However, before he was able to sell enough stuff to pay the $5.4 million, William was arrested and ordered to serve a 6 to 24 month prison term for an assault charge from 6 years prior. Toward the end of his life, Post was on his 7th marriage with over $1 million in debt and was getting by on food stamps and a job paying $450 per month. However, William Post still doesn't have the craziest lottery win story.
That's friggin' nuts, dude. 7th marriage? $1 million in debt? At that point, just claim bankruptcy. It'll get rid of most of it, unless he's got, like, I think student loan debt.
I declare bankruptcy!
Story of all time. That title goes to Andrew Jackson Whitaker, whose life would change forever after winning $315 million back in 2002.
That's a hefty payday.
Like almost everyone else in this video, Whitaker was actually quite successful prior to winning the lottery, having built up a net worth of over $17 million.
Wow. Okay, so he knows how to handle money. How did this go horrible then?
With the assistance of his construction company. And while this would imply that he was in a position to manage a large lottery win, this isn't what would happen. Whitaker instantly donated 10% of the winnings to churches, Christian groups, and spent a further $14 million establishing the Jack Whitaker Foundation, which provided free food and clothing for low-income families in West Virginia.
So far, fantastic. You're not wasting all of it, and you're helping out people. Wonderful. Better. That's a better thing right there. Doing that is better than like everyone else in this list. What they did with their money.
Obviously, you're doing God's work with all this money.
Yes, I am. I'm helping a lot of people, and I plan to help a lot more.
He then drove back to the convenience store where he had purchased the ticket before giving the clerk a $44,000 check, a $123,000 house, and a brand new Jeep Cherokee, which was followed by Whitaker buying himself.
Okay. Now that's a little bit extreme now. Now you're starting to throw money down the drain.
A Lamborghini in which he'd drive around his neighborhood throwing money out of the window. After flaunting this wealth, his Lamborghini was broken into, where thieves stole $545,000 in cash. However, this apparently...
Why would you have that much cash in your car? I guess this is back in 2002, where, the whole world wasn't more as digital as it is now, but that's like having that much money in cash in a Lamborghini, you know, you're kind of asking for trouble.
Apparently wasn't much of a wake-up call, as his car was then broken into for the second time, resulting in the loss of a further $200,000 cash. Jack Whitaker's granddaughter passed away, his daughter then passed away, which was followed by a divorce with his wife.
And now you've lost your granddaughter, you're about to be divorced from your wife. Where does this ever end?
Leading him to state that he had lost everything.
I pretty much lost everything I held dear in my life.
You got lots of money.
Money has never meant anything to me. Yeah.
He still has lots of money, so he hasn't, like, was he investing it and, like, doing something smart with it? We can tell that money doesn't mean much to him considering his wasteful habits. You know, him helping people is wonderful, but him storing $500,000 in cash in a Lamborghini is completely R-worded.
You have to have money to exist in this world, but money doesn't rule the world. Money is not what makes people happy.
And that he wished he had never purchased the lottery ticket in the first place.
But how did that lead to your... Did your children pass away because of the lottery ticket? I highly doubt it. And the divorce probably happened because the children aren't around anymore, something like that, right? And then there was some, like, tension between the family. That's probably what caused his things to go downhill. The lottery, I don't think, has anything to do with this.
My wife had said she wished that she'd torn the ticket up. Well, I wish that we had torn the ticket up too. I just don't like what I've become.
What? What did he become? I guess there's something missing here. Because it sounds like he was just way too generous with his money. But he still sounds like he has a lot of money. So he obviously didn't waste all of it. So then what did he become? Did he become like an arrogant a-hole with it or something? Like, did it change him in a way that he didn't foresee? Because he had money prior to winning. He had $17 million before. So at that point, he was already used to having money. And he was already a person with money. So, I don't know. This last story doesn't make sense. Anyway, I hope you guys like this video. This is very interesting. And kind of... I mean, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. As I said at the beginning, if you don't know how to handle it and then you come into it, you as a person have not changed and your behavior with money has not changed, so you are going to lose it all. And that happened to every case here, except for the last one, which that one's confusing because it sounds like he still has money, but then he regrets the ticket. But the ticket isn't what, you know, the money isn't what caused your family members to pass away, unless, I don't know why that would have been the case. So I'm confused about, but, you know, all the other ones kind of make sense why they fell apart. Anyway, I hope you guys like this video. It was definitely very interesting. And yeah, if you're new, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.